Hello everyone, today I'm working on this really nice C420. It is an Atlas. It's the master line C420, and these have a little bit more detail than usual. There's a little baggie here with rapido couplers if you decide you want that. So first of all, as you can see, the handrails are very neatly painted. And the other details that stand out is you have a radio antenna on the top there, very small. The horn looks great, the paint looks great. It's very sharp. So I looked up a couple of videos on the history of the Delaware and Hudson. Turns out there's three phases in their history. The beginning, which was a very happy time, they ended up buying a bunch of Alcos, RF-16s, which were great for public relations. A lot of rail fans would go there and watch the last remaining Alcos. They also bought some PAs that they made the passenger trains with. Then they got taken over by Guilford, and that was like the phase 2, which was kind of an unhappy time where the Guilford, they just wanted to make as much money as possible. They didn't treat the workers too well, so the workers went on strike. So that's kind of sad. And then they got bought out by CP Rail, and that CP Rail treats their employees very well. So that's kind of happy times again. So I'm going to convert this locomotive to DCC and sound. So these are the decoders that I buy, XL Systems. I'll show you the instruction sheet, and it's got all the contact information. Actually, the email is right there. That's the email, and there's also info about the website. If I can't find it in there, I will tell you. You just type in XL Systems DCC and it'll take you to the website. It's very easy to order stuff. The instructions are there with all the CVs that you can program and the instructions for installation. Now this is a decoder for Atlas GP38. I'm pretty sure it's going to work well with the C420. And they have CV123, which you can change the prime mover sound. So when I first start it up, it's going to sound like a GP38, but I can switch it to an Alco. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to start with the bass line. Cosmetically, I don't have to do anything to this. It's perfect. But I do want to make sure that it's running well on DC before I start putting my decoder on. So let's find out. Let's put it on the track. So let's see what we've got. So it runs very smooth, very quiet. So I don't have to do anything here. Now before, when I did this type of conversion, I had to mill the frame a little bit. So I'm going to compare my decoder with the frame, and then we'll see where we're at. That's good news that it's such a good runner. I'm also going to take a minute just to note the placement of the trucks. to keep them exactly the same. So to remove the trucks, you just spread out the frame just a little bit, and it will give you enough slack just to release them like that. And the same with the front. There. And then we'll finish removing these screws completely. And then I'll spread out the frame. The frame's held in by these 4 little pins. So I'll spread that out. I'm taking my time because it is a very nice model. Don't forget to remove your little light shield. And then you can see I'm putting all my parts in order as I remove the engine. So to me this looks brand new. I don't think I need to add any lubrication or anything. I mean, it ran great. So now I can remove the little circuit board. That little circuit board, I never throw them out. I keep them. Does it even look like the GP38 one? Yeah, it looks really good. So that should go in place. Let's see if I have to nail down something or no. These contacts, very important that you have them lined up properly. Actually, maybe I have to nail down just a little bit here, but that's gonna be easy. I have my Sharpie handy, so I'm just gonna make the lines that I have to follow. So I'm just removing this little bit here, and I'll be doing the same on the other side, where I remove just this little bit. So that I'll remove that with my Dremel and my cutoff wheel. I'm actually all set up for that. I expect it now, so I have my tools all ready, and that's like a thing I do every week. Oh, and before I start, I will remove everything from the frame, because the milling with the Dremel will create a lot of dust. So I make sure that I remove everything. And I also remove these 2 insulators. You want to keep track of them because you do need them. And I'll even remove these. I'm not 100% sure what they do, but I guess they just help the worm gear have a little bit of play. So I'll remove them too. Because I will, once I'm done milling, I will wash everything up to make sure there's no shrapnel anywhere. That would be bad. And then the contact strips, they seem to be stuck there. I'm not forcing them out. Locomotive ran great before, so I'm gonna start milling now. and they do get hot, so you may have to take a break. So yeah, make sure to wash everything. So this is the little square that I took out. That's going to allow me to put my my decoder there, and it gives me enough room for the speaker. So I can start, now that everything's clean, I can start reinstalling everything. Looking real good so far. This one too, you can see the area that I removed. That's not going to affect the locomotive too much weight wise. I'm going to put my motor back in. This pin, it needs to have a little bit of tension, but I find it's too much, it's in the way too much. Oh, you know what I almost forgot? In the instruction, they do tell you to put some kept-on tape, because if these two pins touch either side of the frame, you're in trouble. It'll cause a short circuit, and that could lead to your engine, your motor, the motor burning out. So we are going to put some kept-on tape. So you can use a kept-on tape like that. You can use electrical tape if you need, or you can use the kept-on. The kept-on is better because it's it's thinner, so it doesn't use much space. There, that looks good. Now I can put my motor back. With the kept-on tape, I'm sure that this pin won't touch the frame. And I'm also going to put my worm gears. Yeah, all my life I've been taking my engines apart, trying to optimize them. Some days are better than others though. Sometimes I can't get them 100% to where I want them to be. But I end up buying a lot of Kados because they, for some reason, it's really easy to make them run well. Actually, since I have all this in my hands there, I think I'm going to take a sec and put a drop on the worm gears. Probably won't change anything, but it's going to make me feel good. So just a drop is all you need. On the trucks, I won't put that much oil. Actually, I put no oil. I find that they don't need it. Then I can bring in my decoder. Now, as you do, make sure that your two pins contact this here. That's very important. You cannot even test the decoder without having these pins touching the motor. The decoder has to know that there's a motor there for it to work. So I'm going to organize my wires a little bit off camera. So I took my time. I realigned these two pins to make sure that they contact the decoder very well. And then I'll bring the other side in. I check it to make sure there's no interference. So that looks okay. And then I'll start. Oh, I forgot these insulators. You got to have those. Then the fuel tank goes back. And the trucks can go back. Now, don't force them in. You can just use your screwdriver to pry the frame. Since my screws aren't tight, it's going to give me enough slack to go in there. I'll do the same thing for the front one. take your time with this. It's not a race. Might have to slack my my screw just a bit more. Here we go. Now you use gravity as your friend and you can tighten the two screws. They don't have to be very tight. In fact, I think the engine would run fine without them. Now's the time to check the alignment of your contact strips. This one, I think it's not in the proper place. So you should see them contacting the contact strips on the trucks. So yeah, check the alignment of this. Now's the time to do it. This actually looks okay. When you're running the engine, if it's not perfect, you'll know right away. The light shield here, I may have to trim it a little bit. I'll do that off camera. I still had my Dremel and my cutoff wheel, so that took no time at all. So now I've got to go try this on the track. Well, okay, let's do the initial programming. So I'm gonna do use program track. So no, use program track, enter, and then it's one standard. So far so good. Cannot read CV, probably the decoder is not making contact with either the motor or the frame, so let me work on that. So I changed around the leads, so let's try it again. Manufacturer 143, so that's good. Enter. Decoder version 0, that's okay. Enter. Setup address, yes. Short address is good. Activate this address, yes. Long address, it's going to be 411, so I'm going to put 0411 and then enter. Activate this address, and then I'm going to skip everything else. So enter, enter, enter. I can program some of the CVs, but I'm going to skip that for now. And then that's it. I'm done. Escape. So I'm up and running. Oh, I lost contact with the track. That's not good. I might have to do some wheel cleaning after all. And then reverse. So it seems to be running okay. I am gonna change the prime mover though. When you're changing your CVs, you can do it on the main, program on the main. So I'll do the same thing. Program on the main, enter. Program local 411 is good. 2 for CV. CV number 123, enter. I think from memory the value is 3. Let's find out. Oh yeah, now it sounds like an Alco. Escape. So now all I gotta do is put on the shell. And then there is a shutdown procedure for this. You have to hit function 8 3 times. And then that's it. I'm gonna put the shell back on. I wasn't 100% sure that this would work well, but I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. Now I would be done, except that I also want to convert this other engine to DCC. Now here's what I do. I'll buy a couple of the sound decoders. I just checked the price right now. It's $54, the shipping US, and I always include, since I'm buying the shipping and I'm buying the other decoders, I always include one of these no sound decoders for just about any Atlas, but it's the size of a GP38 or a B23-7. So these are $15. Since I already paid the shipping, I consider it to be $15 free shipping. So that I'm gonna install in this unit right here, which is another Masterline C420. And it too has a lot of really good details. So it's pretty much the exact same engine, except it's got a long hood, it's got a tall, short hood. So I'm gonna go to the exact same process, and then we can get to running some trains. So perhaps the Atlas did some improvements over time, but this decoder happens to fit right away. No need to do any frame modifications, so that's really good news. Well, because I didn't have to mill the frame, this went back together very easy. Now let's go try it on the track. Don't forget to put your Kapton tape. I did that a while back, so let's do the initial programming on this. So program, we're gonna go program on the program track, enter, and then standard. Okay, this is good, so far it's good. Manufacturer 13, decoder version 31, perfect. Setup address, yes. Short address 3, perfect. Activate this address, sure. Long address, it's cab number 219. So I'm going to go 0219, enter. Activate this address, and then I'm going to skip everything else. So So skip everything else. Even the CVs, I'll skip that. And then escape. So let's see what we got. The headlights working. Let's give it some throttle. So that's working too. Then let's try it reverse. So boy, is that ever quiet. So that is a good runner. So now all I gotta do is put the shell back on. So these long hood units, they were bought from the Long Island Railroad and repainted for Delaware and Hudson. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.